Hi, everybody, and welcome to another exciting edition of the SoCal Prep Report. I'm Rich Estrella along with Mo Orr. Randy Rosenblum will be joining us in studio in just a little bit. And Bob, another day off. Mo, why don't you take the last day of the live season off?
I have no idea. I think he said, I got 26 weeks of vacation, so he wants to take it right now.
So he's starting now. 26 weeks of vacation, man. That guy doesn't go anywhere. Anyways, happy you joined us. Once again, this will be the final live show. And then we'll be doing some one-on-one things during the summer just to keep in contact and get ready for August when football season comes back. Mo, I can't wait.
It's exciting. I can't wait.
It's going to be real exciting. But right now, I got to give my beau Mo Orr a hug. Mo, sorry, man.
It's all good.
Sorry we had to lay it on you. It's not on you, though.
It might be on you.
Not on you. All right. All right, we're referring to Minnesota. Let's go to baseball, Minnesota, where, man, this story made national attention. And you know what? It's a great story. Oftentimes we come on here and there's so much weird stuff going on, but we have to report that too. But this one is a good story. You have two guys that played Little League together. Here they are in the state championship. Didn't get to quite set the story up, but just go ahead and take a look at home plate. See opposing players hugging each other. That's Ty Cohn of Mounds View High School and Jack Kokun of Totino Grace High School, both of Minnesota. These two guys been pals since they were in Little League together, most since they were like 8 years old. And Cohn, he wasn't dissing his teammates. Here's a better shot of it. Now watch the pitcher come to home plate, tells his catcher, get away, tells his other teammates, I'm going over here first, and giving some encouragement to his teammate. That was really big, Mo.
That's awesome. He's gonna feel that lubrication for the rest of the evening. And this guy, he went over there, gave him a hug. That's what friends are for.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? Interesting story once again. I mean, you're striking out your childhood friend, and it's like you said, you know, our friendship's worth more to me, and it's going to be, and we're still going to be buds long after the silly game's over, and nobody's going to know the outcome anyway. But you know, it's so much in the hip hop era, and that's what we're in. Yeah. You don't see sportsmanship anymore. It's all in your face, baby.
Sportsmanship has kind of gone out the window at times, right? Where you look at the players, and you know, you might get dunked on, and they sit there and clap their hands in their face. You know, this right here, it'll be remembered. It'll go down in history as one of the most sensitive strikeouts in high school history.
Well, it's a great thing because remember, these are two high-level ball clubs. The loser goes home. Winner goes on to the state championship. And, you know, it's carried over. I saw a report today. The kids in practice, we're talking about Cohn, the pitcher, and all his teammates are hugging him all day. And
That's awesome.
But, you know, they understand the magnitude of it. And his coach said that Tyler is definitely a high-character kid. And this just goes on and proves it. So whenever something great happens, we like to point that out. Nothing better than that right there, Mo. You know, in the hip-hop era, when it's in your face, social media, this, that, and the other. I mean, most guys, I think, that would do that would show that strikeout over and over again and put it in somebody's face. This guy took the high road.
I've been inspired. I've been inspired by this video right here that we started off the show with a hug.
Well, you hugged me when you came in, too. I like that. Allison gave me a hug when she came in. Little Mermaid, Lizette.
I can't get another hug right here on the air?
Yeah, come on, Mo. Oh. Congratulations, baby. Thank you, guys. Not on you. You don't got to carry the show either, all right? Just because you screwed the show up last week, don't worry about it. We're not going to hold it against you.
I was out on assignment.
All right. Let's come back now to Southern California. Let's go to Yucaipa High School. We talked with, going to talk with Ralph Grajeda of Yucaipa High School. He's the head coach. They had a great season. They won CIF over Beckman, a heavily favored Beckman, a Beckman team that Bob Gibson said would win CIF, and I told you Bob's the kiss of death, man. Every week, Bob, I didn't let him talk about Santa Fe last week, and look what happened. They won the fall championship. But everything, Bob, when he's picking one team, you got, like you said, I'm going to Vegas.
I'm going to Vegas.
The other way.
That's right. That's what you got to do. When Bob is picking, go the other way.
Go the other way. All right. Let's talk. Let's Skype now with Coach Grajeda. Coach. Ralph Grajeda, he's the head coach over at Yucaipa Baseball and 2018 CIF champions. Coach, first off, congratulations on being a CIF champion.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Coach. You had a great season. You guys went 28-5 on the season. I don't know where you guys stood coming in, but at the end, Beckman looked unbeatable, and you took Beckman down. Talk about that finals game.
Our kids felt pretty confident going into it. We kind of focused on just the game and executing the game. We knew they were very, very good. We've seen a lot of very good opponents up to that point. I think the turning point is after the kids settled down about the third inning, we were able to focus on what we needed to do. And not to take away from Beckman, but the kids did a really good job of just not making the moment bigger than what it was. It took a while, but they got there. They did a really good job.
Beckman, high-power team, great offense. They have just a great overall team. They were a juggernaut. They were expected to win the division. So it's got to be satisfying being able to take the crown, because I don't want to say you guys came out of nowhere, but again, you weren't the favorite. Beckman was, pretty much.
Okay, you broke up a little bit. I'm sorry about that.
Coach, it must have been satisfying winning that game against Beckman.
Oh, it was awesome.
Because they were heavy favorite. They were heavy favorite all season.
Kind of a culmination of things. We set a single season mark with that win, with that CIF championship win at 28 wins. And from our program, stepping into the shoes that Coach Stout had left, that's gigantic for first-year staff and for that program. So quite happy about it.
Coach, talk about your team. One thing that jumps off the page when you look at Yucaipa is you guys are stingy with the runs. You don't allow anybody to play. I counted, there was 15 games out of the 33 you played this year where you allowed one run or less, so it was either a shutout or a one-run game, and you had 21 of the 33 games where you allowed only 2 runs or less in the game. Is it defense? Is it pitching? What's going on with you guys?
You know, I'm a firm believer that championships won on pitching and defense, and we work very hard on it. I mean, our practices are pretty detailed. We have some special athletes. It's probably one of the best infields I think I've ever had. And as far as the outfield, we have a bunch of runners or guys that can actually track it down. It's just a very athletic team, and we saw that early in the fall. So it was we just basically told our pitchers, just pound the zone, and we're going to play catch behind him. And that was pretty evident all year.
Now, Coach, we don't usually on this show talk about individual performances simply because with so many schools to cover every week, we talk about teams until we get down to this. All right, when you get in the finals, there's guys that just step up. One guy that stepped up for you is your pitching was Tyson Heaton. This young man's only a junior. He's already got a scholarship offer that I believe he's accepted. Talk about him if you would.
Okay, you broke up the last little bit, but I'll answer what I heard.
Sure.
The one guy that was, you know, he was basically our CBL MVP, and that was Tyson Heaton. He was a two-way guy for us. You know, he batted right behind Michael Carpentier, which is, you know, a big-time catcher in his class. And he did a great job both at the plate and on the mound. And if we didn't have Tyson develop the way he would, I don't know if we'd be in that position. The other key ingredient was we needed a number 2. And Vinny Alvarez was a senior that we had that only threw 8 innings all of last year.
Wow. And
so we had to start with him. We really had to develop him to make sure we had a legitimate shot to be competitive. And he answered the bell. He more than answered the bell. He did a great job. And then we've got some sophomores in Bradley Heacock, Nicholas Brunn, and a junior. He'll be a senior this year, Trevor Stewart, that we're really excited about as well. But it hadn't been for our 2 pitchers, you know, I don't know where it would be. They did a great job, especially Vinny Alvarez complimenting Tyson Heaton as a number 2.
Coach, with the consistency of your pitching staff and your defense, was there a point in the season where you felt your team gelled and you were going to be able to compete and go deep in the playoffs?
We're talking about next year, right?
No, I'm talking about this season. Was there a point in the season where your team gelled, where it came along? Basically, you know, looking at your stats, you know, you guys were great, but I didn't see any.
We have a very good defensive team.
I didn't see any dips in your performance all season. Not really.
No, it started in the fall. I mean, I have some very good assistant coaches. I mean, I was an infield coach for a bit, and then 2 of my assistant coaches are both former Yucaipa players as well, and they were middle infielders, both shortstops. And so we worked really hard on defense. To be honest with you, we were pretty hard on our middle infielders. We made sure our coverages were there. We made sure they were detailed. They moved with pitch to pitch. They knew what was coming. They had scouting reports, especially when we played Beckman. We had a pretty good plan of what we were going to do with them. To be honest with you, throughout the playoffs, we scouted just about everybody except for 2 teams, and we got some pretty good information. And so we felt pretty prepared for it, kind of like taking a test. And so our infielders do a really good job of that. We do have some defensive alignments that we plug in based on the type of hitter. And so for high school, they ran a college defense and did a really good job, and they bought into it, and you could see the result.
Well, Coach, whatever you did this season, obviously it worked. Having players like Tyson Heaton and some of the other players you mentioned coming back for next year, you're not going to be able to sneak up on anybody next year. You know that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm aware of that. 100%.
You're going to be the hunted, my friend. Good luck with it.
Yeah,
hey,
yeah, there's no hiding. I get that.
No, but it's great, and it's great for Yucaipa High. Coach, once again, congratulations on winning the CIF Southern Section title this year. Continue to enjoy it during the off season, man. I know you're probably already getting to work on next year, but try to enjoy this as long as you can. They don't come around very often.
It's still hitting me. I'm still taking it in. To be honest with you, it's I'm still numb on the whole thing. Our kids are still taking it in. We can't believe that it actually happened. So we're excited about it. And again, thank you for having us and talking about our program. Thank you.
All right, Coach. Congratulations once again. You guys deserved it. All right.
Thank you very much. Take care. Thanks.
All right, Coach. Thank you. Well, I got to tell you, talking with Coach, you know, there's no joke now for Yucaipa. Before we go to the sponsor, they cannot sneak up on anybody next year. They just can't. It's not going to happen.
No, if anytime you're a champion, you are the hunted, just like you said.
He's got Heaton coming back. The dude won 12 games this year, 90 strikeouts, maybe 190, something like that. But anyways, the guy is just a killer on the mound and just totally dismantled Beckman in that final allowing 1 run. And I told you, these guys, they pitch, they play defense. What's not to like? It's only if the coach can keep their heads among themselves. Just keep your head. He's got to teach his team not to get too big on that, Maul. And you know all about that, right?
I know. I actually
Barry
know
Bonds?
what their secret is back there. Hey.
Don't mess up the hair,
Don't mess
baby.
up the hair.
All right, real quick, let's go to our sponsors for tonight, and we're going to talk about the Yard House in Brea. Of course, nothing but great things to say about that place. Matter of fact, they're going to upgrade the patio. Patio's nice as it is, but they're going to upgrade it. They're going to put a 90, was it? No, 1,000-inch big screen. 1,000-inch big screen.
Big screen, yeah.
It's going to surround the whole thing, just like being out in Manhattan on Wall Street, man. All right? Instead of having all your, you know, all the Dow Jones stuff, you're going to have, you know, probably food prices and games. Yeah. Also, KM3 Project, these guys are outstanding, man.
Love the KM3 Project.
And you guys have been great supporting them. They've been getting a lot of good feedback from this program. KM3project.org. Get on there and see what they're all about. All right? That's it. Let's go back hill. And now we're going to be joined by Randy Rosenblum from the city section, the correspondent. I don't think anybody knows the city section history as well as the current state better than Randy. And Randy, thank you for coming in finally, man.
Man, it's good to be here, Rich. It's good to meet Mo for the first time.
Right.
It's going to be fun to talk about the LA City section. And certainly we're going to talk a lot about football and Narbonne and Crenshaw.
Well, Randy, every year the same thing is, you know, what's going to happen next year? And I know you're going to look into your crystal ball. Let's like to hear it. What do we got going this week?
I want to go back a little bit and talk about Narbonne from last year. And congratulations to Crenshaw. They won a lower division state title, and Robert Garrett was the state and national coach of the year, the Don Shula Award winner. But Narbonne's senior class had 9 scholarship players. They went 35-1 in the 4 years against city competition.
9 this year alone, Randy?
9 this year alone.
One team.
One team.
Oh.
Get this. They won 4 straight city titles that class, 2 state regional championships, 2 state titles, and they won all 4 of the Marine League titles, which is the best league in the city section. Now, next year, who do you think number 1's going to be?
It's got to be Narbonne!
Narbonne! It's going to be, of course, Narbonne.
I think.
Now, get this. I've been told by some of the coaches, now they've lost a lot of players, and they're playing a grueling schedule. Sarah, Long Beach Poly, Corona Centennial, St. Louis of Hawaii. But they might have in excess of 20 Division I players. They've had a plethora of transfers. So Narbonne, with all these glorious years behind them under Manuel Douglas, may, just maybe next year, have the best team in school history.
Question for you. What's the we know this transfer rule in the southern section has been relaxed, so now people could go wherever they want. What's the rule in the city section, Randy?
Pretty much the same. You know, they have a careful eye on it. They want to be, you know, judgmental to a certain degree, but they give you the benefit of the doubt. If the kid moves in, a lot of these kids have moved. A lot of it's reputation. You know that, Rich, and these schools have built up a reputation. None better than Narbonne. And they've done everything legally. They know the paperwork. They know the restrictions. They know you have to move into the area. They understand the parents usually have a job. You can't just show up and be at the coach's house and live in his home. So Narbonne understands it. Now, there's another school I want to talk about. You know, Crenshaw's always going to be good. They'll have athletes. That's San Fernando. Now, the Tigers won the D1 championship last year. They returned a lot of their players, Frias, the quarterback. What's astounding about them is they have a wonderful running game, the Gill brothers and Kyle Bryant. but they just won a major passing tournament this past week. They have most of the players back from a D1 champion that knocked off Dorsey. San Fernando's going to be a major threat in the open division. They're, to me, the only real threat to Narbonne.
And Randy, historically, San Fernando is not a football school. Not historically in the city
Historically,
section.
it is, not in recent years.
Yeah, yeah.
They've won 8 city titles overall, but you got to go back to the days of Anthony Davis and Manfred Morton, guys like that. But you're going back into the 60s and 70s when they were great. In recent years, not as much, but they're back now under Robert Garcia, the head coach. That football team next year is loaded for bear. Now, whether they can handle Narbonne in the city tournament, that's another story. But San Fernando's a big, big jump.
So I got a question. Does the passing league typically translate and transfer into going into the preseason?
This early.
I think it does. I think, you know, it's a harbinger of things to come. It's certainly not the end all because you got to play with linemen. But for San Fernando, my point is they've had such a great rushing football team. And if they're winning passing tournaments to go with all those guys returning that can run, they're going to be a terrific football team.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And see, like it's like Randy's saying, you know, it's been a long time since I've heard of San Fernando being mentioned as an elite team in the city. Though you alluded that at one time they were. They're mainly known as a wrestling school. They kick butt in wrestling, no question about it. But it's going to be interesting. I would like to see somebody else at least be able to challenge Narbonne. It used to be Carson, Dorsey, Crenshaw. I mean, they've all had their day, Randy.
I'll throw out another school, Venice, because they have Luca Diamant, who's a great quarterback.
Yeah, Venice.
He's got a kid by the name of Chad Johnson, maybe the best receiver in the LA City section. So they're going to throw the football expertly, but again,
is that Ocho?
No, I was going to actually
ask Randy.
I think he lost his eligibility. Ocho Cinco?
This is Ocho 10. But Chad Johnson, this Chad Johnson's really good. So those are some of the teams in football. In basketball, Fairfax and Westchester. There's no question. They both returned 2 all-city guards, and so Fairfax and Westchester will be the dominant schools.
Along those lines, talk about Catani, man. The thing he's been able to do at Rolling Hills Prep after having that great career in the city section and the elite teams, you know. What about Catani? Can that guy really coach? I mean, my Lord.
Well, he won
2 state championships.
Well, he won 2 state titles and 3 city titles at Fairfax before he went over to Rolling Hills, and he just kept it going.
He's still going.
Yeah, you know,
nobody over 5'9", but they're kicking everybody's tail.
I mean, he is really a good X's and O's guy. His teams have always adjusted. You know, Harvey Catani is a legend in the LA City section. He had these wonderful battles with Ed Azam, who's from Westchester. They're both there. They were childhood friends. They went to school together. They're the same age, and finally Harvey left. I mean, Ed Azam, to me, is the best coach in the city section. Great defensive coach. So Westchester's my favorite. Another team that'll be good is Taft, and I know Mo knows about them. They have a lot of young talent. They won 27 games last year. And another one is Washington, who won a lower division championship this past season. They're going to return a lot of talent. Scott and Clark are 2 all-city players that will help them. So look for Washington in the inner city to make some hay in basketball next year.
How come nobody can break that Taft-Westchester group? How come nobody can?
Well, Taft, Westchester, and Fairfax. It's
I'm sorry.
Those 3.
Yes, you're right.
Well, a lot of it's coaching. You know, you go back, you know, Catani.
Right.
You know, for all those years.
Azam now.
And then Azam, and then Derek Taylor at Taft High School. I mean, you're just talking about coaches that just have that magnetism, and they are a magnet, and a lot of different kids want to come and play for them.
Well, we talked off camera earlier, and we were talking about the top 3, and you said Taft was in the top 3 in basketball. So it's going to be good to see Fairfax and Taft.
Well, it's always Fairfax, and let's face it. I mean, you start basketball, you start with Fairfax and Westchester, not necessarily in that order. Could be any order. They're going to be there.
Now, we might have a breakthrough in girls basketball next year with Granada Hills. They have a couple young ladies by the name of Haley Burfield, who's a wing who can really shoot the basketball, and Haley Aiden, who's a 6'2" center who was a sophomore last year. She had a number of games with 20 points and 10 rebounds and 10 blocks, and she's going to only get better and better. So we might have that breakthrough from the San Fernando Valley with Granada Hills next year in women's girls basketball.
That'll be good to see.
So what was like the biggest story in the city for you this year? What was the one you look at and say, man, it transcend all sports? What was the best story this year, do you think?
To me, it has to be the football because they won 2 state championships. You know, you play 100 years and you win 1 state title. It was Manual Arts before all of us and all of our families were born. Then Narbonne finally breaks through a few years ago, and now they win their second one. But they get Crenshaw and Narbonne to win in the same year. That's awesome. The other big story, baseball, the West San Fernando Valley. The Valley has won the city championship every year this century. The last time they didn't win it was San Pedro in 1992 over Poly. and the fact that the Valley will be even stronger again next year in the West Valley, all those teams return their star pitchers.
Right.
That to me is a huge story that nobody can break through the Valley dominance in baseball.
Well, I think there's a lot more places to play in the Valley than there are in the city right now in certain parts. And, you know, Major League Baseball is even trying to rectify that to some degree. Right. Was it Davis was the one that came back and donated money, him and Strawberry, to put a field in somewhere? And, and there's guys out there that did well in the city that have come back and are doing, but they're trying to bring baseball back to the inner city of Los Angeles. But yeah, out in the Valley, it's dominant. There's
it's dominant. And the other team, you know, I mentioned where I think Narbonne's got a chance to play with the Modern Days and the St. John Boscos next year, is the Palisades boys volleyball team. I think they really have a shot next year. They return almost all their talent. Akil Tangator was the city player of the year. He'll come back. 5 major schools are after him. They got a middle who's going to Ohio State. There's Setter Partain's going to UCLA. All these guys return. They beat a very good South Torrance team in the state regionals before they lost to Corona Del Mar, which was the best team in the state. So I think they're a threat to win it all next year.
Well, it's good to see the city section on the rise, because you talk about not having a state champion in football in 100 years. Manual Arts, the oldest high school in Los Angeles. They probably won the first title because there's only another high school to play. It was just,
they still are the answer to the trivia question. They've won more city titles than anyone in football. It's like 17. It's crazy. It's crazy.
But anyways, but a lot of breakthroughs in the last 4 or 5 years in the city section, and the athletes are coming. They had Johnny Parada won the first CIF state championship as a wrestler from Camino Real High School, El Camino Real High School. I believe that's out in the Valley, isn't it? El Camino. I haven't been
Woodland
there.
Hills.
Yeah. So I mean, they had their first state champion over 100 years in wrestling. The football guys are doing well right now. So the city section's alive and well, athletes. I just know their hands are tied because of budgetary constraints. They only allowed 6 coaches, I believe, in football, or maybe 7. I don't know, Randy, what the number. But I know it was something ridiculous.
Those coaches are making no money. Most of them are walk-ons. They, some of them are teaching. They're doing it for. I mean, it's not. You go to the southern section, you see the staffs of 15, 20 guys.
20 guys.
City. You're lucky you have one guy who's a really top assistant and 4 volunteers. That's what you have. Before I leave, I want to throw out a name to you, Max Muncy, the hottest Dodger who's hit the 4 homers in 4 games. Well, this is a southern section pearl for you. There's another Max Muncy with the same spelling playing at Thousand Oaks. He's an underclassman, played in a Futures All-Star Series, the Southwest Future All-Star Series this week at CSUN. Very impressive. It doesn't end there. They're not related, but they spell it exactly the same way. They have the same birthday. August 25th will be a happy birthday to both Max Muncy. How odd is that? Is that a weird story?
Very odd. That is very odd.
That name is just an oddball name, Max Muncy.
It is, but if I was the kid, I would definitely be trying to get that paycheck.
Well, he's going. He's trying to meet him. They want to go there on his birthday. And the last ad on the city section, getting back to that.
It's all right. Go ahead.
I love this. The Warriors just won the championship. We know that. There's 2 that have been involved in the past with the city. There's the link. Nick Young from Cleveland High School. Never could win a city title because he always ran into Jordan Farmar at Taft and others, and great Fairfax teams coached by Harvey Catani. And everyone knows about Nick. He played with the Lakers and then on to the Warriors. But the other one is Steve Kerr. He played at Palisades. The biggest thing about Steve Kerr is he played in the city baseball championship at Dodger Stadium.
Good for him.
Lost. 2, Brett Saberhagen, when Saberhagen threw a no-hitter at Dodger Stadium.
Saberhagen was something else, man, and did well in the majors. Interesting stuff. All right, let's get on to some other businesses we have here at hand. And I wanted to talk about LeBron James Jr. Well, Mo, I already let the cat out of the bag, man, but...
You already let the cat out of the bag.
All right, let's talk about LeBron James. First of all, where's LeBron James going to go?
Well, he said in the latest interview that he is looking and thinking about his children and his family. So... everybody wants to know July 1st. Where is LeBron James going?
No, I'm talking about his kids.
Oh, you talking about Junior?
LeBron James Jr., my brother. This is a high school show. I don't care about LeBron.
Well, free agency for high school starts July 1st when Daddy LeBron decides out where he wants to go.
started for high school. There's 100 transfers in modern day already. Not all basketball.
You want me to answer that one?
Go ahead.
Sure.
It's going to be Sierra Canyon. He's going to play for Andre Chevalier, who is a great player in the city. Coached Nick Young at Cleveland, played for Cleveland. So I would say, and that's the rumor anyway, they won the state championship. You got all those other players over there coming back. Kenyon Martin's kids over there. Scottie Pippen. When I was over on campus to do another event, I ran into Scottie Pippen. I didn't know his kid was there at the time. So I think it's almost a no-brainer. if LeBron even thinks about coming to Southern California, the kid's going to enroll and he's going to play there for Andre Chevalier.
Hey, I know his last visit was Harvard Westlake.
Yeah.
He was just at Harvard Westlake.
You know, I don't.
To school.
I've never seen anybody so interested in where this kid, 8th grader, is going to go ever.
Hey, let me tell you something. Which camera am I at right now? I'm going to tell you that you heard it first, right here on the SoCal Prep Report. LeBron James Jr. will be at Sierra Canyon.
You guys should be cutting the
agree
Mo.
with me? Okay,
you
you
should
agree
be
with
cutting
me.
the Mo when Mo sent. Can we cut the Mo? Say that again, Mo.
I don't know if I can say it again as perfect as the first time.
All right.
But I'm good.
Forget the
it's okay.
basketball graphic. I want Mo. Mo's making a decree here. He's making
I am
a
making
prediction.
a decree for the SoCal Prep Report. Allison, put it on Instagram. You heard it here first. LeBron James Jr.
L.A. Laker, not a Clipper, right?
Senior, L.A. Laker, Junior, Sierra Canyon.
So you agree with me?
I do
Bronny,
agree with you.
Bronny James.
Yeah.
Bronny James.
Bronny James.
I think the Lakers ought to draft him too right now, just for the hell of it.
Well, I think there's going to be
Just for
actually
the hell
3
of it.
balls and 1 Bron Jr. straight to the NBA.
And of course, LeBron's goal is to hang around long enough in the NBA so he can play with Bronny. He wants to play with or against his son. That's his major goal.
Well, he's got to, you know, and LeBron's good enough right now to maybe hang around another 5 or 6 years to see that happen. He just might. You just never know. I mean, he's taking care of himself. Obviously, he looked good this year. I mean, he scored 51 in a playoff game in a final. I mean, you kidding me?
Well, before, it hasn't been very often where the child or the kid has been better than the father.
Well, we're not going to go there. Yeah, we're not. I'm not going to go that far.
Remember them Michael Jordans, them Jordan sons, they weren't as good as their dad. So
Well,
lots to live up
DeVar's
to.
kid wasn't as good as him, and Shaq's kid, we still the jury's still out. I don't see him being as big and mean as
Curry.
Shaq, but yeah, interesting stuff.
Interesting.
All right, so now we have this other player, Brian Bowen. Now, Brian Bowen, basketball player, high school kid from Lemire High School, out in the South. The poor kid can't go to college. He can't be drafted into the NBA. He's a 5-star recruit. This kid could go anywhere in the country that he wants to. Already had a school pick, but guess what?
What?
The school's busted. Arizona, I think it was, they got popped for all the big scandal with the agents and all the money, and apparently when he was in high school, his parents were probably pulling down a couple $100 G's a year. Wow. Allegedly. Allegedly are now, right? I said that. Should have said that beginning. But anyways, it's alleged his family got payments. They got some kind of benefit. So now he's barred from going to college. Can't play in the NCAA. He's too young to go into the NBA, which basically either gives him the G League or the B League.
Or the JBA. That's
I'm sorry, the LB, LeVar Ball League. I'm sorry. Go ahead, take it away.
The JBA.
Yes, sir.
Hey, you never know. They can still get paid. It might
Randy,
not be NBA money.
We've been talking about this since the scandal started. It seems a sham that these kids got to be one and done. You know it's a big joke. At least we feel it's a joke. We all know these kids that are great are not going to finish 4 years of school, so why play the game? Let them go play.
I think you got to let them play. I've never been a guy that, you know, to force a kid to play X amount of years. I've always, I like transfers, I like free agency, and if a young man feels he can make it in the NBA, if he's
Let
got
him
a
go make a
legitimate
living.
chance, let
It's
him
not
go. Let him go for
NFL,
it.
right? It's not
I agree.
NFL football where you get killed
Yeah.
putting an 18-year-old out. I wouldn't want to be the guy that signed that contract for an 18, 19-year-old.
I will say this, the G League has really helped a lot of people.
And will continue to do so.
Real quick, guys, Mount Verde Academy is going to be taking on Oak Hill, not this year, but in 2019, February 2nd. Mark your calendars. That's going to be something to watch. Number 1 versus number 2. So it will happen during basketball season on February 2nd. We're out of time. Sorry, man.
What? Again?
That's
That
it.
fast?
That's
That
it. We're done.
fast?
It goes like that every week.
Social media right there. Follow us. Instagram,
Thank you.
Facebook,
Thank you.
Twitter.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I like Facebook.
And YouTube.
That's it. On behalf of Randy Rosenblum, Mo Orr, and Bobby Gibson, who is not here right now, on behalf of all the crew, thank you guys so much for a great season. We're going to be back. No live show next week, but we'll have some stuff on tape for you. Thanks for joining us once again. On behalf of everybody, good night, everybody.